expert. I don't think he has the ability, but I could be wrong.
Let's talk about something that one could say, oh, I think you said it, precipitated your departure from the administration, and that's your disagreements with this administration over trade policy. How much concern do you have that we're just doing this negotiation or these discussions with China in the wrong way?
Steve, as you and I well know, we are a service economy. Our economy is driven by service. We're 80+% of our GDP, 80+% of our job creation is services. So when you're a service economy, the way to stimulate your economy, the way to grow your economy, is to allow consumers to buy goods as cheaply as they possibly can and use the rest of their money to buy services or, if they're lucky enough, to save. Anything that raises the price of a good doesn't make sense for our economy. Even if they're paying it to the government as a tariff, it's just another tax.
But the proponents of the administration policy right now would say, look, we were trying to get them to do concessions on or change their policy when it came to the theft of intellectual property and that kind of stuff, and it wasn't working, so we had to play hardball.
Look, and the president and I completely agree on the theft of intellectual property, on forced technology transfer, on lack of access for U.S. companies into China. Look, our competitive advantage in the United States is we invent things. We create companies. We create a lot of intellectual property. We can't buy goods from China and pay them for them, and Chinese steal what we manufacture in this country, which is intellectual content. That's not a fair relationship. So the president and I completely agree on what has to be done. We just may not agree on how to get there.
Do you have, you feel like the outcomes from these tariffs are going to be negative for the U.S. economy?
Again, if they raise the price of goods,
right,
it's not good for our service economy, and it's not good for savings. We look at the savings rate in the United States. We want it to go higher. If we look at the job creation rate in the United States, we create jobs through services. When you look at the last JOLT data that we always talk about, the big increase is we saw more need for workers in business services. We saw that number go up. Not manufacturing. In fact, we saw more voluntary leavers from the manufacturing industry because as the job market tightens, people will voluntarily leave the manufacturing industry and they'll go into the service industry.
One of the big debates right now, and I think it kind of separates economists from maybe traders and politicians,